In the spring of 1974, a 24-year-old former liquor store owner in Tokyo unlocked the doors of what would become one of the most consequential retail experiments in modern history. He hadn't built the store from scratch. He had simply converted his family shop, same corner, same neighborhood, same foot traffic, into something new. A franchised convenience store operating under an American brand name he had never heard of 2 years earlier. That store was Japan's first 7-Eleven, and what grew from it would eventually surpass, outperform, and ultimately acquire the very American company that had licensed the brand to Japan in the first place. The American origin. The story begins not in Tokyo, but in Dallas, Texas in 1927. A company called the Southland Ice Company had built its business around a simple need. Most American homes had no refrigerators, so people came to buy ice. Someone noticed that if customers were already making the trip, they might also buy milk, bread, and eggs. The ice docks added groceries. The groceries became a store. Those stores were first called totem stores, a name derived from the idea that customers could tote their daily necessities home. In 1946, they were rebranded as 7-Eleven, named after their operating hours, 7 in the morning to 11 at night, 7 days a week. Those hours were considered revolutionary at a time when most American retailers closed by late afternoon. By 1963, a location in Austin, Texas, stayed open all night and never closed again. The 24-hour convenience store was born. Built around the car, the gas station, and the American suburb, the 7-Eleven model was designed for speed and simplicity, a place you stopped at, not a place you went to. The licensing deal that changed everything. In the early 1970s, a Japanese retail executive named Masatoshi Ito visited the United States. He ran a fast-growing supermarket chain called Ito Yokodo, and when he encountered the 7-Eleven format, he recognized something his home market didn't yet have: a scalable, 24-hour neighborhood store built for daily life. In 1973, Ito Yokodo signed a licensing agreement with Southland Corporation, the American owner of 7-Eleven, and created a subsidiary, York 7 Co., later renamed 7-Eleven Japan. The deal granted them the right to use the name, the trademarks, and the operating knowledge in exchange for franchise fees. Inside that new subsidiary, a relatively young manager named Toshifumi Suzuki was put in charge of the project. He would go on to become the first president of 7-Eleven Japan and later chairman and CEO of the entire group, which was eventually renamed 7&I Holdings. Suzuki negotiated the original licensing arrangement and then systematically rebuilt the convenience store concept from the ground up, not for American suburbs, but for dense Japanese cities, small apartments, and customers with extraordinarily high standards. From the American side, the deal was straightforward. Here is the brand, here is the playbook. From the Japanese side, it became something else entirely. The Japanese expansion. On May 15, 1974, the first Japanese 7-Eleven opened its doors in Tokyo. From the beginning, the expansion was deliberate and disciplined. Rather than building expensive new stores from scratch across the country, 7-Eleven Japan primarily converted existing neighborhood shops, small family-run liquor stores and general goods retailers in established locations with built-in foot traffic and community ties. Headquarters provided the brand, the store layout, and the supply network. The local owner provided the building and their knowledge of the neighborhood. For many struggling shop owners, converting to a 7-Eleven franchise was a lifeline. For 7-Eleven Japan, it was a method of rapid, low-risk scaling. The company reached 1,000 stores by 1980, just 6 years after opening. By 1983, they'd passed 2,000. Competition arrived quickly. Lawson opened in Osaka in 1975, and Family Mart rolled out its franchise model in the early 1980s. 3 major chains raced for Japanese street corners, and 7-Eleven led both in store count and in sales per location. They crossed 10,000 stores in Japan in 2003. Today, there are more than 21,000, nearly a quarter of all 7-Eleven locations in the entire world. The reversal. While 7-Eleven Japan was growing, its American counterpart was struggling. Southland Corporation, the original owner of 7-Eleven, had expanded aggressively and taken enormous debt. It filed for bankruptcy in 1987. Ito Yokodo and 7-Eleven Japan stepped in as part of the restructuring. By 1991, the Japanese side controlled roughly 70% of the American 7-Eleven business. In 2005, when the group reorganized under the 7 & I Holdings name, they increased that stake to 100%. The American chain, by then renamed 7-Eleven Inc., became a wholly owned subsidiary of a Japanese conglomerate. The company that had originally purchased a license to use an American brand had, over 3 decades, bought the entire thing. The licensee had become the parent. What Japanese 7-Eleven actually built. To understand why Japanese 7-Eleven outperforms its American counterpart, it is necessary to understand what it actually is and what it is not. It is not simply a convenience store that sells better food. It is a piece of urban infrastructure. Fresh bento boxes, onigiri, rice balls, and sandwiches are delivered multiple times per day from nearby production facilities and restocked within hours. The egg salad sandwich, known as the tamago sando, made with crustless white bread and silky filling prepared with Japanese Kewpie mayonnaise, went viral internationally, not merely because of its recipe, but because of the system required to keep it consistently fresh on a shelf in a tiny store. Beyond food, Japanese 7-Eleven locations function as civic utilities. Customers pay utility bills, print government documents, buy concert and transportation tickets, send and receive packages, and access banking services, all without leaving the store. Many locations are officially designated as disaster support stations, equipped with backup power and emergency supplies, and provide free Wi-Fi during earthquakes and major blackouts so residents can reach their families. In many Japanese cities, public trash cans were removed after the 1995 sarin gas attacks in the Tokyo subway system. There are almost no bins on the street. Visitors are often bewildered where waste goes. The answer for millions of people daily is the nearest convenience store. 7-Eleven Japan has become, in effect, default waste infrastructure. The city, in a functional sense, could not run the same way without it. The system behind the store. None of this is accidental. It is the product of a logistics and data strategy refined over 5 decades. Within roughly 1 kilometer of Shibuya Crossing in Tokyo, there are more than 100 convenience stores. Multiple 7-Elevens and competitors sometimes operate on the same block. The obvious question is how they all survive. The answer lies in what 7-Eleven Japan calls its area dominance strategy. Rather than distributing stores thinly across regions, the company clusters 50 to 60 locations within tightly defined geographic areas. The logic is efficiency. The closer the stores, the shorter the delivery routes. Shorter routes means more frequent deliveries. More frequent deliveries means fresher product, less waste, and faster inventory cycles. The system also operates across time, not just geography. Breakfast items populate shelves in the morning, lunch bentos arrive around midday, light snacks appear in the afternoon. Hot comfort food is prioritized late at night. In some stores, the same physical shelf holds entirely different products 3 or 4 times in a single day. The result is a store that always feels fresh, not because it is large, but because it is precisely timed. The question of imitation. American 7-Eleven has stated publicly that it intends to learn from the Japanese model. The urgency is real. Growth in the United States has underperformed expectations. Following the $21 billion acquisition of the Speedway gas station chain in 2021, the company's earnings became heavily exposed to volatile fuel prices and thin margins. Leadership has acknowledged a need for a fundamental shift. A plan to spin off the U.S. business through an IPO is reportedly in preparation. But the structural barriers to replicating Japanese model in the United States are significant. The American convenience store was not built as neighborhood infrastructure. It was built around the automobile. Stores are spread across suburbs and rural corridors, positioned to capture drivers covering wide distances. Delivery routes are long. Even dedicated daily runs cover enormous territories overnight. In Japan, fresh and warm food can reach the same store several times in a single day from distribution centers a short drive away. In the United States, that kind of frequency is logistically impractical across most of the country. There are pockets where a denser Japanese-style model could operate: Midtown Manhattan, downtown Chicago, central San Francisco. 7-Eleven has experimented in those markets,